I wanted to ask you a UFC question as well after this. It's not really a UFC question. It's more like a fighting question. I wanted to ask, if you had the ability before a fight to take away a specific move or punch or thing in someone else, you don't know who the fighter is. It's not like you can say, okay, it's Anderson Silva, so I'm going to take away this particular skill. A generic fighter. Yeah. What is the thing when you're fighting where you go, fuck man, I don't want like that?
None of that. It'd be mental. I'd take away his confidence.
Oh, okay. Because the fight's one in the brain. Yeah.
100%. There's no sport more mental than fighting.
You've seen a lot of guys who are monsters in the gym, and then when it comes to this,
tons of them. Yeah, tons of them. And then I've also seen guys who are terrible in the gym, but they have this confidence, and they get in there. And it's like, there's some guys I'm like, how? I can't believe you've made a career doing this.
Yeah.
Not only have they made a career, top 10, top 5.
Jesus Christ.
All here.
I mean,
because when it comes to competition, they come alive.
They just, when the lights are on, they come alive, and they just have this willpower and this confidence and swagger that you cannot train for. They just have it.
Well, that thing that Anderson Silva had for such a long time.
Forever.
Holy
and think about it, Anderson Silva didn't always have that. He wanted to retire in Pride after he lost in Pride to, I think, Rio Shonen.
Well, didn't Conor want to retire? Wasn't he talking about retiring?
Well, yeah. So, we'll get so Anderson Silva wanted to retire, and Big Nog talked him into not retiring, and they started going on this win streak, and then he got this crazy confidence. Right. Then he was untouchable.
I mean, that Forrest Griffin thing that he did. Oh.
But then you see where the confidence kind of, granted he got older, but then you see when after he loses Chris Weidman, he's a little older. That next fight, you're like, it's gone. It's gone. And then, Conor's is different. Conor, he lost a fight, and then he started fighting, but then his buddy, who was very talented, he was taking fights, was never getting the UFC. I think he got, I forget who it was. He had brain trauma and was like broke. And Conor's like, this is how this story ends. I probably need to move on. And then like a couple weeks later, he got a call to come to the UFC.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wouldn't answer the phone he kept not answering the phone, I guess. And then finally he answered the phone and said, I'll take a fight. But something clicked with him.
He was already a two-weight champion, though. He's already a two-weight champion, and he was a monster.
But something did seem to click with him, right? Like the minute he got
He's always had the confidence.
Yeah.
Again, if I could take away anything, it'd be that confidence.
Which is potentially where Ronda Rousey's at the moment, right? Because that was a hell of a loss, and it looks like she might be kind of thinking like, maybe I'm not.
And I don't have an issue with that. Like, they thought she was going to come back at UFC 205 in fucking New York. Their first fight in New York. Right. And she said, Dana announced that it's not going to happen.
She's not ready yet.
When you're untouchable and you're like that, I just, and you lose in that fashion, I think it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Well, I mean,
I don't have a problem with her going, I don't want to do this anymore. Because the issue is, so Conor lost was the first thing he wanted. He wanted to fight Nate, right? Give me fucking Nate right now. Right. Whoa, let's build this up. Right. Whoa, get me back in there. Right. Someone loses, get me back in there.
Right.
When you see someone go, dude, when it's no longer fun when you have to do it.
Right.
If you make me fight, I'm not going to perform well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If it's on my terms, I have the right training camp, and I have the passion for it, then it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you make me fight, I'm not doing it, man.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, for a long time, she was so dominant and an amazing fighter, Ronda Rousey, and I loved what she did. But I felt like just in that moment, maybe a lot of other people, including herself, felt like she got slightly found out because in her stand-up game,
correct,
it just wasn't there, right? If she gets someone on the mat, she's gonna fucking break your arm and you're
best
done.
in the world, best of all time.
But her stand-up game was lacking, and maybe she's spending the next little bit of time here getting her stand-up game.
She's been shooting movies.
We'll shoot movies too. You gotta be careful with that shit.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you get kicked in the face. The thing is for her, it's again, and she doesn't owe anyone anything. If she wants to make a million movies and not fight again, what she did for the sport, she doesn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, it was historic.
If I'm her manager, I mean, maybe she does one more, but again, it has to be on her terms.
Yeah, she made women's fighting exciting single-handedly.
Well, before her, Dana, even when she was fighting Strikeforce, Dana goes, women will never fight in the UFC.
That's right.
So every woman, she should be paying her royalties from
100%.